The following is the exhaustive, chronological master synthesis of Atta texana. This narrative tracks the superorganism from its genetic inception through its industrial peak, governed by mathematical precision and biochemical warfare, until its inevitable systemic collapse. The nuptial flight and the foundations of genetic diversity. The life cycle of an Atta texana colony begins with a synchronized pre-dawn biological explosion between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. This timing is governed by a sophisticated subterranean clock that detects the exact moment CO2 levels hit their lowest daily trough and air pressure drops, signaled to the ants via the Johnston's organ in their antennae. This barometric sensitivity ensures the queens fly only when the Texas soil is soft enough for excavation. During this flight, a virgin queen engages in extreme polyandry, mating with 8 to 15 different drones. This creates a genetic mosaic within the future colony. By storing sperm from multiple fathers, she ensures her workforce has diverse patriline's with varying innate resistances to the parasitic mold Escovopsis. She stores this massive supply, up to 300 million sperm cells, in a muscular sac called the spermatheca. She keeps these cells in a state of metabolic depression for up to 20 years by pumping in specialized antioxidants and sugars through the spermathecal lining, preventing the oxidative stress that would otherwise kill the cells in days. Histolysis and the founding of the fungal monoculture. Upon landing, the queen sheds her wings and immediately enters a state of histolysis. Her body begins an internal demolition of her flight muscles, converting them into a nutrient-rich liquid soup that serves as her only fuel source for months. Simultaneously, she retrieves a fungal starter kit from her infrabuccal pocket, a pellet of Leucoagaricus gongolophorus. This relationship is a strict monoculture. The ants and the fungus have co-evolved so tightly that the ant's digestive enzymes and the fungus's nutrient fruit, Gongylidea, are a perfect biochemical match. Introducing a second strain of fungus would trigger mycelial antagonism, where the different hyphae release toxins to dissolve one another. Consequently, the ants are hardwired to recognize the chemical signature of their specific strain. Any foreign fungus is treated as a pathogen, torn apart and buried. Geotechnical engineering and excavation math. As the colony matures, it expands into a city of 5 million, moving over 40 tons of soil during its lifespan. This excavation is governed by a biological algorithm to prevent structural collapse in volatile Texas black gumbo clay. The 40-degree rule. Foraging tunnels maintain a slope of 40 degrees, steep enough for efficiency, but shallow enough to prevent a worker carrying twice its body weight from backsliding. Prolate spheroid chambers. Fungal gardens are housed in egg-shaped chambers. This geometry is mathematically superior for resisting lateral earth pressure, diverting the weight of 25 feet of soil into the sidewalls. Salivary tamping. Labial glands produce mucopolysaccharides and glycoproteins that, when mixed with clay, form a biological cement. This waterproof, ceramic-like lining redirects groundwater toward deep refuse sumps. The Bernoulli principle. They construct tall central chimneys and lower peripheral vents. Wind blowing across the chimneys creates a low-pressure vacuum that sucks CO2 out of the nest while drawing fresh oxygen into the depths. The spectrum of the caste system. From minims to giants, the workforce is a hierarchy determined by epigenetic triggers and nutritional gatekeeping. As eggs pass the queen's micropyle valve, she decides whether to fertilize them, females, or withhold sperm, male drones. Nurse ants then manipulate the larvae's diet to determine their final form along a vast spectrum of sizes. Minims, less than 1 millimeter, the microtechnicians. They garden the fungus and hitchhike on leaves to headbutt parasitic phorid flies away from foragers. Media workers. 2 millimeters to 4 millimeters. The industrial backbone. They utilize a pars stridens organ to vibrate at 1000 Hz. This turns their mandibles into oscillating sonic knives that saw through cellulose with minimal friction. Submajors, 6 millimeters to 9 millimeters. The heavy lifting foragers. These are the beefy ants often seen on trails, clearing heavy twigs or slicing through exceptionally thick, waxy leaves that a standard media worker cannot breach. Supermajors, true soldiers, 10 millimeters to 14 millimeters. The living tanks of the colony. These giants possess massive heart-shaped heads, with head widths often exceeding 4 millimeters or 5 millimeters. Because they are energetically expensive to produce, they usually only appear in high numbers in mature colonies. Their heads are filled with massive adductor muscles that power mandibles like hydraulic shears, capable of snapping woody roots or amputating the limbs of predators. Foraging, warfare, and botanical counterdefenses. The colony targets live oak, Texas redbud, and cedar elm, but must navigate evolutionary landmines. Some plants fight back with latex seals, high-pressure sap that glues mandibles shut, or terpene overload, essential oils that act as fungicides. If the fungus signals distress through volatile organic compounds, VOCs, the ants immediately blacklist that plant species. To protect their crop, Ants carry actinobacteria, pseudonocardia, in specialized crypts on their chests. These bacteria produce candicidin to kill the parasitic weed mold Escovopsis. They also harvest non-plant matter like caterpillar frass, pre-processed nitrogen, and insect carrion to provide the fungus with the chitinous precursors it needs to build its cell walls. Genetic winterproofing and thermal diapause. Unlike their tropical cousins, Atta texana has adapted to the Texas freeze through specific mutations. When soil temperatures drop, workers produce polyols, glycerol, in their hemolymph, acting as a biological antifreeze to prevent cell rupture. They also possess a mutation in their circadian genes that allows them to enter a state of metabolic diapause, retreating 25 feet underground, where the Earth maintains a constant 15 degrees Celsius to 18 degrees Celsius. The Texas strain of Leucoagaricus also possesses thicker chitinous walls to survive thermal shock. Senescence, the genetic death spiral. The colony's end is a systemic collapse triggered by the depletion of the queen's non-renewable sperm bank. After 20 years, her micropyle valve fails. She begins laying exclusively unfertilized eggs, which develop into drones, males. These drones are social parasites that do not farm or defend. As the aging workforce dies off, the labor force collapses. Without the antibiotics from the workers' chest crypts and the weeding of the minims, the Escovopsis mold liquefies the garden. In a final act, the fungus pushes mushrooms, fruiting bodies, through the soil to release spores. The subterranean city, once a marvel of engineering that moved 40 tons of soil, becomes a silent, hollow tomb.